We took her in, and 2 hours later, she was still in the MRI machine. So they just called us all together and just said, we see a mass. They did a core biopsy of her hip, diagnosed her with osteosarcoma, bone cancer.
If she didn't have that solid ground when she got sick to take her through, I don't think we could have done it without the community.
K through 12, I was part of Rochester Catholic Schools. You kind of just naturally grew in your faith without maybe even realizing it. It made you a more well-rounded student and individual. And I started kicking a soccer ball around as soon as I could sign up. And I loved soccer. Met a lot of friends.
Hanna was driven as a soccer player. It came natural for her.
When it was to the point where she came to Lourdes, I remember her being a forward on the front line and scoring goals and being fearless, yet being kind, always having a kind word to say.
I actually really loved playing with her, yeah. Not only because it was fun, but she was an awesome player, an awesome teammate.
She was a leader, she was our scorer, she helped motivate everyone.
I was going to practice and coming home, and I was in a lot of pain in my hip. And so I went to the doctor, and they thought it was just a sports injury. I was icing it, doing some physical therapy. I was in tears because I was in so much pain.
Hannah really wasn't a complainer. And when she was complaining, it's like, well, there's just something not right. When they did the MRI, that's when they found the tumor.
I remember getting the text message that said that Hanna got diagnosed with cancer, and it was just kind of like the world stopped. You never think that cancer will hit so close to home.
I just remember sobbing. I mean, you just hear cancer and you automatically think the worst. Am I gonna lose her? I just remember not being able to get myself to stop crying.
There's so many plans that God has for us. We can't give up. You know, this is not the end.
She had some aggressive treatment, and we lived a lot at the hospital, day after day.
It's hard to see, you know, somebody that you love so ill and suffering. She was very sick. She was skin and bones, no hair. I mean, it's hard.
I remember Hanna saying one time, God has to have a bigger plan for me. There has to be something more for me. You know, this can't be it.
You really didn't see the tears. You know, you only saw her determination and how motivated that she was gonna fight this and she was gonna get through this.
I remember at that point thinking, we'll do whatever it takes for her, but we weren't gonna let her down. We had to be creative at times about how we got our books to her, and her friends would take books to her and they would bring assignments back. It was a team effort all the way around.
My friends would always come up after school, we'd hang out. We always got yelled at because I had like 15 people in my room at all times and it was noisy, but they definitely made it a lot more bearable. That was a huge part, I think, in keeping my spirits up. My treatment was to do 10 rounds of chemotherapy, so that was 4 or 5 days in the hospital for 10 weeks. And we found out the tumor didn't shrink at all.
Dr. Uzemski got down on one knee and he grabbed my daughter's hand and he said, if I don't remove your leg by the end of the week, you will die by the end of the year. The decision was made that we were gonna take her leg. Hip, pelvic bone, 4 vertebrae on the right side of her spine. They took everything on this side. So he said, if we do that, she'll live a long life.
I was definitely shocked when they told me that day, and they wanted to do that the next week. They didn't really give you a lot of time to process it.
But Hanna played one more soccer game the day before she had her leg removed. And everybody was watching. She put her cleats on, she went into the game, and she scored a goal. There wasn't a dry eye on the sideline. The next day she went in and we removed her leg.
On the day of her surgery, they had a mass going on at St. John's and a prayer service throughout the day.
I remember how much comfort I found in that. As hard as that was, you know, we were able to do it together in church, praying for her. We had our faith, and that's really what got us through.
Just knowing that, you know, there is a bigger purpose and she was going through this for a purpose, and that something great would come of it.
We had t-shirts, we had fundraisers, different way that they were raising money for her and for the family.
Father Nelson, he did not miss a day coming up to the hospital.
Always wearing his Hannah's Hope green shirt and his Hannah's Hope green bracelet.
Just having everyone rally around her and showing that support and all the prayers. Everyone was there for her.
And I did 17 more rounds of chemotherapy after I had my big surgery. So altogether I did 27 rounds of chemo. You don't know the outcome. I think, yeah, in a sense you are afraid, but you just have to keep pushing and, you have to give it your all. I was able to keep on track with all of my classes, and everybody was really rooting for me in that sense and trying to help me out.
I asked her parents if it was okay if she continued to be a part of our team as manager. We had some goals. Many of the goals were to go to the state tournament and to take Hanna to the state tournament. And we were able to do that. 2012 seniors played out of their minds. There was no doubt in my mind that that was for her.
Well, all of senior year, I was back in school. I did homecoming, prom, all of those things.
Hanna was a straight A student all the way through school, and
Definitely very prepared. When it's time for us to go off to college and make big decisions, the values that you learn, it prepares you to go off, take those next steps in your life. I went off to college at University of Minnesota, Duluth. I was actually the first couple weeks of school. I met Ezra, and he and I were both looking for an elevator because he was also in a wheelchair, and he asked if I ever thought about playing hockey. And I laughed at him because we were both sitting there in wheelchairs, and he said, no, sled hockey. Convinced me to go out to try it.
She had a positive attitude the whole time, very good with constructive criticism. She understands, things are going to be hard right away at the beginning, but if you push through it, it becomes easier, and look where she's at now.
It's definitely hard to balance, and you're trying to skate and handle the puck at the same time, trying to push yourself. It's a lot, yeah. And then I started going out of practice and playing with the Minnesota Wild sled hockey team. Now I'm just a part of the team, me and 12 guys.
You're sitting there like, she's so small compared to these big men. But then I'm like, she's tough, she's resilient.
The hockey players that she plays with, it's almost like they're her big brothers.
she didn't think she was ever going to play a sport again. And it's amazing. I love watching her play. She's got the drive still, the determination. It's all there.
Now she's in the sled and she's flying around just like she was on the soccer field.
I'm in my second season with the USA women's team right now, and we're playing in the World Cup in May. The hope would be that we'll play in the 2022 Olympics in Beijing and win a gold medal. That'd be nice. Looking back, I was very fortunate to be a part of the Rochester Catholic School community, and what it has to offer people is truly something that you can't put a price tag on.
It's hard to beat a community like that and all the love and support.
It's true. It goes along with your faith, your Catholic education, your friends, your family, all of it. Trust the process.
It makes you really feel so appreciative of what we really have here.
They say that God puts burdens on people that can handle it. If God brings you to it, He'll see you through it. You learn along the way. So many experiences and difficulties sometimes, but I think it's just all a part of the journey. Spreading that message that there is, that bigger plan, and you're meant to just live that out.